Hello, you're welcome back. We are going to be talking about market structure. This is going to be part two of the market structure. In the last episode, we started speaking about support and resistance, support and resistance, and in that module, in that lesson, we spoke about what makes a support, what makes a resistance. All right, and we actually said that where price began to rally to the upside, where price actually began to rally up to the upside, that place is what is support. And where price began to move to the downside, that price, that point, the price reached that before it began to go to the downside, that place is what is resistance. And we showed that in this diagram that you are looking at right now on the screen. All right, this is your resistance, this is your support, because price reached to this particular point and it rallied to the upside, and it got to this particular point of resistance again, and it began to what, to move to the downside, and it got to this point and it began to move to the upside. So as you can see, we have support points and we have resistance points as they are. So all right. So when you are drawing support and resistance in a trending market, you should connect the wicks and not the bodies. And you should focus on the most recent ones because they are the most important levels. All right. So basically, we are going to be speaking more about this. But basically, when you are drawing your support and your resistance level, make use of the wick, the tip of the wick. Okay, the tip of the wick. That is where you should what, you should mark as you are moving. You know, when you open your chart, all right, when you open your chart, you are not going to get um those straight lines, like we saw in the previous diagram. Market is not going to give you that kind of straight line, right? So it's going to be more like what you are seeing on the screen right now. It's going to be more like what you're seeing on the screen right now. Now, if you start from the left side of this screen where I'm actually pointing to right now, all right. Now you can see that this is a big candle that went to the downside. Now this is the last price before this began to plummet to the downside. Now, your, if you want to draw um, your resistance point, you're going to mark this particular place as your resistance point. Now, price got into this particular point, all right, and it began to rally to the upside. Now, place is what? This place is your support. You understand? You understand that? Good. Now, just for the price actually, went up to this particular place again, and the price got into this place, got rejected, and it began to plummet again to the downside. Now, this again is what is another resistance. All right. So if you want to mark that, so if you want to mark that, what are you going to do? You simply just mark it. That is the tip. That is your resistance point. Okay? Okay? Alright, good. Now, price, came to this particular place. Of course, it didn't really break that. And it got again and is plummeted again to the downside. Now, it got to this particular point again, alright, before it began to move up to the upside again. All right, it got to this particular point once again. All right, and found resistance from that particular point. It began to what? To move to the downside. It got to this side, to this point again, and it began to move up again. Now it found resistance over here one more time. Now on and on and on and on like that. All right, so let's quickly look at another no let's quickly look at another example very quickly. All right, so right here, um we are seeing something different again. Okay, right here. All right, um all right, so now one one other thing you need to know is that when we are looking at a market, there are two major moves. Okay, there are two major moves in the market. There is something we call impulsive move, and there's something we also call corrective moves. For every impulsive move, there is a corrective move. So basically, what is an impulsive move? An impulsive move is that big move, that big move in a certain direction. It could be to the upside, it could be to the downside, right? It is actually that particular move, impulsive move, that breaks out of a previous support or a previous resistance, depending on depending on the trend at depending on the trend. Now, let's look at this again. Let's look at this again. As you can see, this particular place, just look at the left side of this chart. Let's start analyzing this from that particular point. Don't worry, you're going to get it. All right. So let's look at that. This particular point here, um, particular point was the support, because it's this is the point the price got to and it began to rally to the upside, right? And price simply just price got into this place and found resistance in that particular place, and it moved and broke through former what? The former support. So this is our impulsive move, right? This is our impulsive move. Now, as you can see, price got to this particular point and found support. Okay, and price actually moved all the way back to the upside, but it couldn't it couldn't break through the former resistance. Okay, are you following this? And price simply just moved and broke through the last recent support once again. You can see, so this is an impulsive move. This is your corrective move. The impulsive moves are the ones that are breaking through the former support and resistance. I hope you really get this. So your impulsive moves, they are actually those big moves that break through. That simply just broke through the former support and resistance. So the corrective moves are the ones that simply just go on, you know, um, um, okay. The corrective moves are the ones that happens after, you know, after the uh, after the impulsive move. Okay, so a retracement does not actually break the the point that actually produce the impulsive move. You understand? The retracement does not break through the does not break through the the resistance point that produced the impulsive move. Okay, so you can simply just study this chart all over again. You can see that the impulsive move here, okay, you can see that this impulsive move broke through the former support, okay, found another support at the at the below here, and price began to rally to the upside, but it didn't take particular resistance point that produced this big move to the downside. All right, and it got to this point, and again there's another move that began again and that broke through the support here. Okay, that broke through the support here, and here you another level of retracement also started from this particular place, but it didn't come up to this particular point where a new resistance actually began. And you understand, it simply just got to this particular place and again broke again to the downside. So the ones that are breaking the former support and resistance points, they are your impulsive moves. But those smaller moves that happens after those impulsive moves but fail to take out the resistance or the support, they are the ones that we call what? Retracement. I hope you really understand that. Of course, you can go through this lesson over and over again. It's really very simple to understand impulsive and corrective moves in the market. All right. Okay, so let's look at another example. This example is actually in an uptrend. The former example that we had was in a downtrend that price is actually plummeting to the downside. But even prices was plummeting to the downside. It wasn't just going down just like that. There was an impulsive move and there is a corrective move. There is another impulsive move that breaks through the former support, and it's actually that was for the downtrend, but this is for an uptrend. Okay, the uptrend is simply just the opposite of the last one. Now, price actually began to find support from this particular point, and it simply just moved and got resistance at this point, and there is a move to the downside. Okay, so basically the tip of the this is the highest price. This is the highest price that the price that market got to before it begins to move a little bit to the downside. And from this particular point, you can see, okay, so you can see, let me quickly take my, all right, this is actually the place where price began to find support, okay? And from there on, the price simply just, move on and broke through this last the other highest price that where price where market began to find resistance, and it simply just broke through that. Okay, so it means that your impulsive move is actually now to the what? To the upside. Why? Because it broke through the former resistance. Okay, it broke through the former resistance and it got to this particular point and it retraces back. Okay, it retraces to the downside, but it didn't take out this former support. Can you see? It didn't take out this former support before it moved again to the upside and broke through this resistance again. So this is your impulsive move. This other one is what? Your retracement, or you can call it correction. Okay, you call it correction or you call it retracement, you're still saying the same thing. And you can see the price what again did exactly what it was actually doing. So this is an uptrend move. In an uptrend move, the impulsive move is actually breaking through the resistance point. Okay, in a downtrend move, the price is actually breaking through the former support. Okay, all right, I think you really understand that. I really want to believe that